228, Truck 6, Truck 3, Battalion 3, and the on-call inspector. 2303 West 46th Street, number 208.
Hi, I'm Division Chief Steve Fessler, and on this episode of Sioux Falls Fire, we go out with our USAR teams for some swiftwater rescue training. We work with our partners at Game Fish and Park on some educational prescribed burns, and we take a look at our cadet graduation, all on this episode of Sioux Falls Fire.
Yeah, so we're working with the Sioux Falls Fire Department to do a prescribed burn here at the outdoor campus to be able to hopefully encourage some new growth of our prairie field. So we're hoping to do this to be able to burn the field, to be able to get some of the non-native species and remove those, and then encourage some new growth of the native species that we're wanting to see out here. So South Dakota Game Fish and Parks does do prescribed burns when weather allows, and obviously we know that over the last couple years the weather's been iffy at best, but this is the first time that I know of that Sertoma Park, specifically the field here, has ever been burned, and we're excited because it's we've used different ways to help mitigate it through mowing and grazing as well, but prescribed burns seem to do a better job of removing those non-native species and bringing in those new ones. So one of the ones we're hoping to get rid of is Kentucky bluegrass. That one's been in there, as well as some smooth brome. And I think we're just going to watch and wait and see if we can get it to come back naturally. Otherwise, we may come back out and reseed. But the goal is that it'll come back on its own naturally. Precautions is key when it comes to these burns. The outdoor campus, Sertoma Park, and the Butterfly House are centrally located in Sioux Falls, so it's a really well-used park, and we always have lots of folks here. So definitely having to be cognizant of where the public is and making sure that they stay safe and understand that they shouldn't be getting close to the fire. And then the Sioux Falls Parks, or the Sioux Falls Fire Department has quite a few folks out here who are going to be patrolling the area to make sure that no one is getting too close to the burn. That people are, more than welcome to enjoy watching it and see what happens, but we also want to make sure that people stay safe. So we've got 4 different sections that we're hoping to burn over a series of 4 different years. So this one's kind of the test burn to see how it goes. Again, it's never been burned, so we'd like to kind of get a test of a smaller area to see what it looks like, and then eventually we'll burn the other 3 units subsequently throughout the years. We have a section across the Oxbow that we're hoping to burn in probably 5 years. We've mowed it before to kind of get rid of some of the foxtail, but we're hoping to come back in and burn it and see if that produces some better results than we've had in the past. Again, we're really excited to be able to work with the city of Sioux Falls to be able to offer this burn. Again, it's a unique opportunity. We're South Dakota Game Fish and Park, so we're a state entity located in a city park, and we're working with the Sioux Falls Fire Department to be able to put on this burn. So it's a lot of different state and city agencies working together to be able to offer a unique conservation method to better our parks.
All right, my name is Michael Olson. I'm a firefighter at Sioux Falls Fire Rescue here. Also handle all the swiftwater rescue instructing with firefighter Luke Langenfeld. We're out here today doing our annual swiftwater rescue training up here at the diversion channel along the Big Sioux River. So today we were working on different types of go rescues. So the first one was an untethered go rescue where, just like it states, the rescue swimmer jumps in the water, not connected to the rope or anything, and then once he makes contact with the victim in the water, onshore personnel throw a rope out there to catch them. First we did it without the rope just to get timing down, and then we incorporated the throw bag rope later on in the training session. We also practiced our tethered go rescues, which would be when our rescuer enters the water with a rope attached to them. The rope is attached to a quick release strap, so if they're ever in trouble they can separate from that rope and swim out. But what that allows is it frees up the rescuer to not have to worry about catching a rope once he makes contact with the victim. Then we have people on shore that anchor down that rope and help pull the victim and the rescuer to shore. And then we're also working on throw bag rescues, which is totally shore-based. A couple different techniques. One would just simply to be grab the victim's attention, throw them a rope, have them capture it, and then we pull them in. The other technique we were working on was what we call a box cinch, which utilizes ropes from each shore. We throw them across. We essentially create a box with the rope. We attempt to catch the victim the rope cinches down on them, and then we bring them to either whatever shore we decided that would be the best option to get them out of the water. So this is water rescue. Water rescue is a subdivision of urban search and rescue. About 20 to 30 firefighters over the next 3 days will take part in this type of training. We'll have an afternoon session today, and then the next 2 days we'll have morning and afternoon sessions where we just get down to the basics of go rescues and throw bag rescues, so that our guys are comfortable in the high flow water and ready whenever there's a large rain or a high flow incident or flooding incident in Sioux Falls, that we're ready to go. Today we were specifically working on go rescues and throw bag rescues. We have other techniques we use. We have inflatable boats, some with motors, some without. Without would be the RDC, where we either tether that boat or we paddle it to our victims to perform the rescue. We have inflatable motorized boats, which we can handle these same flows with a motorized boat to get into the tougher spots along the Big Sioux to rescue a victim. And then we also have our flat bottom boats that would also help rescue a victim. But today we were working specifically on our go rescues, our in the water rescue scenarios. We just like to thank the guys from Public Works. They assist us and they open up the gates to the Big Sioux, so it controls our flow. It allows us to work in different types of flows, ranging from very little flow to very, very high flow to simulate those flood waters that we experienced a couple of years ago here in Sioux Falls.
Captain Brad Peterson, Engine 1, Central Fire Station. Responded today to a structure fire on a detached garage. First to arrive on scene. When we arrived on scene, we observed pressurized heavy smoke coming from the upper door panels of the overhead doors. Pulled in a line in to start the fire attack to get her knocked down. Quite a bit of fuel within the garage itself. When we first got in and got the doors opened up, what it was is just a lot of dark, heavy smoke, so we knew that we had a pretty either fuel-loaded environment or the fire was well progressed, which it could have been contained within the garage with limited oxygen coming into it, and that really could have let it just kind of smolder and build on its own. And when we opened the door, it just gave it that breath of air that it needed to help progress it even further. And that was a lot of the visibility issues. Within a foot of our masts, we couldn't, it was all darked out. So then we just opened up the lines and just kind of started to do an overall A side, C side, B side to D side attack on this thing for coverage. A lot of times what ended up happening is where you're going to store gasolines for your mower, oils, those types of chemicals. All depends on how much you store. Will certainly be a more hazardous area than you're not going to bring a gasoline can, or you shouldn't bring a gasoline can into your home. So we had quite a bit of a fuel load within there with just combustible liquids. In a house you have partitions, you have walls, you have bedrooms. The walls make up the partitions. In a garage you may not have those partitions, it's wide open, which can help you with the fire attack, but it can also hinder you because there's just more susceptibility to internal exposures. One gas can starts on fire, it goes up the wall, spreads over the ceiling, and you not only have now a fire on A side, you may have it all the way over on Charlie's side. Those kinds of open exposures like that. And so it's just a really open environment. Does not help you out in some fashions. You want to have good ventilation within the garage itself, especially if you're storing large amount of gasoline, other solvents, stuff like that. Got to be able to breathe in there. Don't want to be storing any rags that have chemicals in them. You don't want them bunched up in a bucket. That could certainly be a fire start right there. And so you just want to be having plenty of safety factors in hand if you are working with large amount of chemicals or welding or other types of products or tools that you work with within the garage.
I'm here with Fire Chief Matt McAravey, and we just finished up presenting badges to our 13 newest probationary firefighters at the Cadet Academy graduation and banquet. What'd you think? How'd it go?
It's really an incredible event. It's interesting to see, so you and I 20 years ago got to go through an experience where we received our badges and a much smaller presentation, and I remember how impactful it was for me to see other people from the department, family members to come and share in the experience, and it really elevates to say, look, you're now a firefighter and you're going to be out there serving your community. And being able to be in this venue with all the crowd and family, it's really impactful for us to see just how important this event is and how important it is a first step in their career.
Right, and something like this also goes to show of how big of a family it truly is, and how we lean on each other, and how important it is to, when we bring these new cadets in, that we want to bring them in full force.
Absolutely. You know, we have a good showing of retirees that show up for this event every year. We were fortunate enough to have council member Sale, a retiree from the fire department, show up. It really just kind of emphasizes that this is a lifelong career. This is a profession, it's something that we take very seriously, and we are a part of a family.
Yep, and with our organization as a whole, we depend on our retirees because they're the ones that have given us what we have. So it's important to get all aspects, from the new cadets to the retirees and everybody.
Absolutely. There's no way that we'd be here today without their hard work and sacrifice.
Yep. So Chief, we had 13 cadets that got their badges tonight, became probationary firefighters. What's some of the next steps that they'll get to see from this point on?
So yeah, for now that their training and their cadet academy portion is completed as probationary, they're going to spend the next 12 months in operations. They're actually going to get to put to work some of the skills that they've learned. They're going to get to go to the fire station, start to respond to calls, and during that period as a probationary firefighter, they work closely with the crew that they're assigned off. It's kind of a handoff from training officers to that operations division, where now they get to put those skills to work, but we're still constantly working, training with them, evaluating them, make sure that their skills are there so that they can go out and be a full-time career firefighter for years to come.
This isn't the finish. This is just the beginning, correct?
Yeah, there is no finish. It's a long career. It's more of a marathon.
Yep.
It might seem like a sprint at this point, but it's definitely a marathon.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Sioux Falls Fire. And as we saw earlier with the USAR teams in their swiftwater rescue training, be safe when you're out on the lakes and rivers in the area. Wear a life jacket and take care. If you'd like more information about Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, go to siouxfalls.org/fire. Thank you very much.